Hi, I'm Bybreen Samuels and welcome back to another episode of Soul Stirring Astrology, where I give you my textured take on the world of astrology. Well, in a couple of weeks' time, on December the 22nd, there is a full moon in Cancer, and it's the day after the Winter Solstice, which is on December the 21st. It's the shortest day in the year, and it basically means that the sun is at the lowest point in the sky. So it's time for hibernation, and the hedgehogs have been showing us the way because they started to hibernate from September, October and November, and it's a time for us to consider how we conserve our energy as we take on the lessons that are being presented by this full moon in Cancer. So on one level, we're being invited to think about the concepts around commitment to your professional life or to your family life. Or is there a tension between emotional indulgence and emotional control? Are you trying to find ways where you can strengthen your vulnerability? Are you trying to find ways where you can begin to reposition yourself around your own sense of power and authority? So that's what's being presented by this opposition of the sun and the moon. So the sun and the moon are respectively at 0 degrees. The sun is at 0 degrees of Capricorn, the moon is at 0 degrees of Cancer. So both planets have the full journey ahead as they go through these signs. And so it is a sense of, are we being asked to consider how we cede our authority to other people to nourish us in ways whereby it may no longer be their responsibility? And the reason being is because in Capricorn there are three male energies, or three authority energies. We have the sun there, we have Saturn, which has come home, and Pluto's been there for quite some time. And so Pluto there is about the transformation, the regeneration of the use and misuse of power. How do you hold on to your power in a way that's liberating to you? Now, we have Pluto, and Pluto is opposing the North Node, and both of them are in a T-square with Uranus, and Uranus has retrograded back into Aries. It was there for 7 years and then moved forward in May of this year into Taurus, and it's now retrograded back. So we have Uranus, which is the focal planet, and it's trying to harmonize this opposition between Pluto and the North Node. So here again, this sense and question of power and position. So with Uranus going back through Aries, think back over the last 7 years. Where is it that you broke free to create your own meaningful identity? Uranus in Aries. Aries is, taking charge of yourself and your life, and Uranus is doing it in quite a shocking way. It could be quite direct, it could be very sudden, it could be quirky, it could be innovative, and it could be completely unexpected. But it was a really strengthening time for all of us. We've all experienced Uranus going through Aries, and so the retrograde is reminding you, pointing to what identity do you need to re-engage with in order to birth it with this moon in Cancer. So I was having a conversation recently with a friend of mine, and so he shared that he's bisexual, and he discovered this or owned it, admitted it to himself during this 7-year period, certainly when Uranus was going through Aries. And so, the revelation to his friends and his family was quite shocking. And he said, in terms of his dad, so his dad could be understood on one level to be a really super hyper masculine man. He's this martial arts wizard. And yet it made no difference to his dad, because it's like, you're my son, I still love you, nothing has changed, just help me to understand the world that you are now living into. So really beautiful and very poignant. So you will have your version of where you completely broke free and took control of your own life and your identity. And that's what this opposition and T-square with Pluto opposing the North Node, that's about the future direction, and Uranus in the T-square is reminding you of coming back to this new distinctive identity. This is also being supported because we've got Mars, which is conjuncting Chiron in Pisces, and they are trining the North Node. in Cancer. So it's beautiful. So where you've got Mars and Chiron, there's a healing that has taken place to a wound that may have been there. And with the Mars there, it's about the courage to really be who you need to be. They're both in Pisces, so it's about sensitivity, compassion and self-forgiveness. You know, it's the elimination of guilt around who you are. Self-forgiveness so that you can really start leading your way, rebirthing your way with this new, with the full moon in Cancer. You have to give birth to this new identity. There's no need to be afraid. The reason being is, in order for you to keep liberating your life, in order for you to keep flowing in the direction you're meant to be in, you have to relinquish other people's expectations of who you are. And so Uranus in Aries retrograding is reminding you to do so. So this new identity becomes grounded in another way because we have Venus, and Venus is sextiling Saturn. So it's a respect, it's a commitment to your values, what it is that you value about your new identity. It can also mean that there's a commitment, a re-establishment of a commitment to your relationship. It could be your personal relationship or those close relationships, relationships that you place value on. There's a deepening of commitment because we have Venus, which is sextiling Saturn. Venus is also trining Neptune. So Neptune is the higher octave of Venus. So here is where there's a sense of creative escapism into the dream world, because both of these planets are highly creative. So if there's a creative endeavour that's on the horizon, you can't quite ground it. You're meant to be escaping into your dreams to begin to formulate what this could be. Then you will apply Venus sextile Saturn to ground it into reality. And then lastly, we have Jupiter and Mercury. They're conjuncting each other in Sagittarius. So here there's a real expansion of your mind, your point of view, your horizon, the way that you engage with others. You're able to hear what they have to say. They contribute to your thinking. So it's a really buoyant energy. Also, it's good for business. So, you know, business planning, rethinking your strategy, putting that into practice. And where you're working with teams of people who could be right around the world, you're thinking of ways in terms of how all of you can work far more efficiently and effectively. So this new identity that's been called for, really look at this Uranus in Aries. It's retrograde. It's going to move forward in a few months' time. It will move forward into Taurus around about March. So you've got a few months to really own the identity that you started cultivating, or you cultivated when Uranus was moving through Aries over the last 7 years. And it brings me to the quote of the day. And the quote of the day is by Sunday Adelaja. And what she said is that you gain diminishing returns the more you reside in your comfort zone. So there are diminishing returns when you limit yourself, when you restrict yourself to your comfort zone. With this Uranus in Aries, which is the T-square involving Pluto, transformation, and the North Node, this liberation, this birthing, this is the way in which you can self-parent yourself in order to be who you're truly meant to be. So that's it, beautiful people. That is the full moon in Cancer that takes place in a couple of weeks' time on December the 22nd. So any comments in the comment box below. Please share this episode with other people in your network, and please like and subscribe to my channel. For everybody that has done so far, thank you very much for your continued support of what I'm doing. As you know, I love astrology. I love sharing astrology with you, and I help you illuminate your life. So until then, stay well, and I'll see you on the next episode. Bye.